Another week, another episode, and another topic on the toss-up. Welcome in. I'm your host, Luke Brennaman. I think everyone in the Indiana area, or at least the Bloomington area, wants a break from college basketball. This season's put Hoosier fans through a mental roller coaster. It's been tough losses, injuries, and now a pending coaching change. So let's step aside from the college game and dive into the NBA. I'm joined by an elite, expert, and knowledgeable panel that is ready to break down all of the hottest topics in the world of professional basketball. Zion, we'll start with you, IUSTV basketball beat writer, Lionel Smelyanskiy, one of the biggest NBA fans I know, and Sam Heuser, a HN Pacers writer, so we'll go to you with the local stuff. Zion, I want to start with you with the first question, though, and everyone will get to this. The biggest surprise at the All-Star break. We've now had a couple of days to watch the All-Star festivities, but really think about the first half of the season. There's been some shocking storylines. Who is yours?
To me, the biggest surprise, Luke, has been the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is a team that felt like they kind of plateaued after a promising kind of rebuild they were going through in the post-LeBron era. And a few years ago, it looked like they were on the up. And then last year was a 48-34 season. Well, guess what? This year, they're already 44-10. So when you can turn around your team like that, all credit goes to Kenny Atkinson at head coach. This team is much better than it was last year. They're just much more of a vibe and a connectivity that Cleveland has, especially on the offensive end. My guy at point guard, Darius Garland, has rebounded really well this year. Had kind of an all-star caliber start to the season. I know he wasn't in the game, but somebody like him who played really well has been somebody who I've been impressed with, and this whole team as a whole has come together really well. They've got those four main players, and they just acquired DeAndre Hunter at the deadline. So this team, to me, has been really impressive, first in the East right now.
I love that move, getting Hunter, adding some defense for a team that has scored at every level all year. Lionel, we'll move to you. Your biggest surprise.
For me, the biggest surprise has been, without a doubt, the Detroit Pistons. 5th in the East at the All-Star break, 29-26. This is a team who's on pace to already win as many games as they did in the last 2 years combined. They won 31 games combined in the last 2 years. They're already at 29. This is a team that came into here with no expectations at all. They signed Tim Hardaway Jr., they signed Malik Beasley, they signed Tobias Harris, and now Malik Beasley has proceeded to set the Pistons franchise record for threes at the All-Star break. They got Cade Cunningham playing at an MVP level. They got Jalen Duren averaging a double-double. This is a team that from 2019 to 2022 was dead last in attendance, and now they're ranking 10th in attendance. The fans love their Detroit Pistons. They're engaged. They know that the Pistons have a bright future. I think things are looking absolutely phenomenal for them.
It's a testament to how well coached they are. Cade Cunningham's kind of been at the forefront of that move, a candidate for most improved player. Sam, your biggest surprise?
Yeah, there are a lot of players you can talk about. You know, we mentioned Trey Murphy earlier as a group, and we talked about Jaren Jackson Jr., but teams, the Grizzlies, but I want to talk about the Rockets and their defense. Ime Udoka has done such an amazing job just bringing this core together. They have young guys like Amen Thompson, Jalen Green. They have Tari Eason coming off the bench, and he just came off of injury. And all these are such versatile defensive guys, not Jalen as much, but those are two versatile defensive guys. And you have Sengun, who sets up the offense completely. Fred VanVleet's such a great defender. There's just so much to love about this team, not only now, but moving forward. They're a really good team. Aaron Holiday's even given them insanely valuable minutes off the bench. This is a scary team. They've done really well.
Yeah, one thing about Houston, they're 4th in the West right now, but they can beat anyone. They've proven that. Just freakishly athletic, so many guys that can play all over the place. I love how all of you went positive in the route of biggest surprise, because there's been some lowlights so far, especially with some maybe older superstars, and we'll get into that later. I want to flip the script, though. Let's go to the opposite. Your biggest disappointment. Lionel, I want to start with you.
For me, the biggest disappointment has been, without a doubt, the Philadelphia 76ers. This is a team who had massive expectations. Tyrese Maxey has become one of the better players in the NBA. They signed Paul George. Joel Embiid is supposed to be healthy again after playing for the U.S. in the Olympics, but no. Joel Embiid is once again injured to start the year. But they had some flashing potential from Jared McCain, but then he tears his meniscus. And it's not fair to call that a disappointment. It's an injury. But as a whole, the Sixers are sitting at 20-34. They're a fringe play-in team, a team that had so many expectations for this new big three. Joel Embiid has now made $126 million while sitting out in his career, which is more than just about 99.999% of people will make in their entire lives. And it's just becoming something that Sixers fans can no longer tolerate. He's causing some locker room issues. He hit a reporter earlier this year, and the Sixers still rank number 2 in attendance in the NBA. The fans want to see their team succeed, but they've just been let down time and time again.
They love basketball in Philly. Not good for the NBA with their struggles. Zion, your biggest disappointment?
I have to go with the Phoenix Suns here. I mean, this is a team that has two guys that are considered top 15 players, I'd say, and Kevin Durant and Devin Booker on the team. They got rid of Frank Vogel, which I think is a mistake. I think it's a mistake every time somebody gets rid of Frank Vogel as a Pacers guy as well. And it hasn't worked. They got in Bud as the head coach, but it just has not worked at all. And then you had all this murkiness with them around the deadline, too, that couldn't have helped the team. It was like, oh, will Bradley Beal accept that trade option and go elsewhere? Will they get Jimmy Butler in there? And then in the last 48 hours before the deadline, it was like, wait, are they about to trade Kevin Durant? And obviously that didn't happen. And I just, there's no way to me that all that noise can surround a team and I can expect that team to really rebound and recover and make some sort of run into the playoffs. So we look at a team that's already in the 11th spot right now, not even in the play-in if the season ended today. That is extremely disappointing for how much money is being put into that team and how much talent they have at the top.
I mean, at one point, that was a three-headed scoring combination that people were saying could be the best trio scoring-wise in the history of the NBA. When you have Bradley Beal with Devin Booker, who was already in Phoenix, and then you bring in KD, arguably the best off-the-dribble scorer, or at least one of them in NBA history. I want to go to you, your biggest disappointment.
I was for a while going to go with Zion Williamson and the Pelicans. But I've just been thinking, and I'm going to switch it up, and my biggest disappointment is being a Dallas Mavericks fan. Ooh. Man, you make the finals last year, and you trade away your guy, the one that everyone has the jersey for. This is like what Reggie Miller was to Indiana, was what Luka Doncic was to Dallas, and all those kids growing up. It's a really unfortunate situation to go all in, and now Anthony Davis is hurt, and your future is unclear 2 years from now.
Almost something we've never seen before. You take a guy who has hit all kinds of shots for you when you started off kind of middle of the pack, the Mavericks, and brought them to the NBA Finals. I feel like a lot of people haven't realized the magnitude of what they did last season behind 77, and now you're shipping him to the biggest market in basketball.
You can argue he hit the shot to bring them. It was so demoralizing to the Wolves when Luka hit a step-back three on Rudy Gobert when he got the switch. He sent them to the finals, and now he's gone.
Insane to think about. So let's get specific, and we're talking about superstars. Zion, I'm going to go to you. Who is your MVP right now at the trade deadline?
I think it has to be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. When you look at a guy that is leading the NBA in scoring, shooting about 58%, this is a point guard technically, and he shoots like 58% on two-point shots. That is ridiculous, and he's on the best team in the league. I just can't see how a guy that dominant on a team that great and that dominant can't win the MVP. I know he's the odds-on favorite right now. To me, it has to be SGA. It has to.
Almost a little bit of a two-horse race right now, SGA, and Jokic is always going to be involved.
Hold on, I caught that. Was that a horse reference? Was that on purpose?
I mean, he can do it all, but SGA absolutely one of the I'm not even going to say incoming superstars anymore. He has arrived.
He's here.
I mean, he's a bucket. Lionel, I want to go now more towards the trade deadline. I just hinted at the trade deadline. I meant the All-Star break. But when the trade line happened, we talked about Luka. What was the biggest move importance-wise outside of the Luka move, or at least lack thereof of moves for some teams, maybe like Phoenix?
Outside of the Luka move, as a Spurs fan, I've got no choice but to say that the acquisition of De'Aaron Fox is by far the biggest move because Victor Wembanyama is going to dominate the NBA for the next at least 10 years, assuming he stays healthy, and pairing him up with a flashy, shifty point guard like De'Aaron Fox who can create for himself and throw the ball to Wemby exactly where he needs it. I mean, it is a dream spot for the Spurs. They're not exactly ready to compete yet with just those two. They might need the addition of one more star, but that move for the Spurs was phenomenal. And in the same move, the Bulls got rid of LaVine. He went to the Kings, who now LaVine gets paired back up with DeMar DeRozan, as they just were in Chicago. And they now have a big three of LaVine, DeRozan, and Domantas Sabonis, and Malik Monk. And they've got potential, but they're having some internal issues of their own. They fired Coach Mike Brown at the few weeks ago. They got Doug Christie at the helm now. I think they can get things going again. They can definitely make the play-in, and if they win their play-in games, they can definitely make some noise in the playoffs with the core that they got. And lastly, I'll bring it over to Miami. Jimmy Butler has been shedding some tears and crying his way out of Miami for a while now. He got suspended multiple times by Pat Riley. And finally, good for Jimmy, he got sent to the Warriors, the Bay Area. Who wouldn't want to be in California Do the Warriors have what it takes to win the finals now with Curry and Butler? Probably not, because their third best player is, Draymond Green.
Nonetheless, is pairing Steph Curry with another superstar, we kind of know how that works in the history of the NBA. I think the Warriors have a good chance to kind of be a dark horse to be in the mix there. Yeah. Sam, I want to get local with you. We have a lot of Pacers fans who watch this program. Indianapolis, I guess the closest team, and that's kind of the vibe around here. We care about the Pacers, currently 4th in the East, coming off a historic playoff run last year that surprised a lot of people when they knocked off the Knicks at MSG. How do you grade them going into the All-Star break, and what do you want to see out of them coming out of the break?
Yeah, going into the All-Star break, they had a great month of January. But other than that, it's not really what everyone from Indy expected, or at least in my opinion. Zion, you can chime in on this, but I kind of expected them to build off that Eastern Conference Finals run. Maybe Rick Carlisle gives some more minutes to the younger guys, Jarris Walker especially. But then there were some injury troubles. We lost James Wiseman, Isaiah Jackson, so then we only had one center. There was a whole debacle with that. So there's just been a lot going on. They really showed that they can be a really good, solid unit in January, but after they went to Paris, it didn't look the same. So it kind of just depends on the rotations and how Halliburton can get his head back in the game. Miles Turner, 8-time Trade Talk champion, he's here for good. I just really want to see the young guys get some minutes. Bennedict Mathurin's been stepping up. So they can make some noise. It just depends on their rotations for me, in all honesty.
Yeah, you kind of feel like they limped into the All-Star break. And sometimes that's okay. You need that break, get some energy, and rebuild. So right now, guys, we're going to step aside, and we're going to take a quick break before heading all the way over to the monitor, and we're going to play a little bit of a game with these guys featuring some of the hottest takes right now in the NBA. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to The Toss-Up.
The Toss-Up, Fridays on IUSTV.
Welcome back to The Toss-Up. We have now transitioned over to the monitor to play a game called Buy or Sell. In this segment, I'm going to flash up a question on the monitor, and we're going to have a little bit of a debate here, and then we have 3 panelists, so majority is going to win, whether we're taking it, selling it, buying it, maybe a couple influxes in there. So let's start. Let's throw this up on the table, and Lionel, we're going to start with you. You talked about the Phoenix Suns for a little bit earlier. The Suns' big 3, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and Kevin Durant. Is that experiment now a failure? They're 11th in the Western Conference at the All-Star break.
Luke, yes, I'm bought into the fact that experiment is a failure. Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, 2 ball-dominant players. It was never going to work out for them.
Zion, are you buying or selling?
I'm buying that too. I mean, this team just isn't it, right? And I think this summer they'll blow it up.
All right, well, now I want to move to you. We talked about the scoring activity between that big 3. Do you have any hope in them maybe?
Sorry, I was trying to get Lionel's attention. That's on me.
Here, let's just pack it in tight.
Pack it in.
Yeah.
And then if you could stand still too, try to.
Stand still? Okay, yep.
Here's Zion.
This too bad? Am I locked
yeah,
in?
there you go. Should we go?
Sorry, guys.
There you go. That's my fault.
No, I thought you were calling us or pause.
Yeah, they were trying to get Lionel's attention. I was like, well. Yeah, you guys are good.
I'm good now? I'm good now? All right.
Yeah. Yeah, they're good, Kara.
I need scissors. I gotta cut this little string on my jacket. Sorry.
Welcome back to the Toss-Up. We've now moved over to the monitor to play a game that I like to call Buy or Sell. In this segment, we're going to flash up a question right behind me, and we're going to go through the 3 of you guys as a panelist, and majority is going to win whether we're buying the hot take in the NBA right now or selling it. So let's start and get these going. The Phoenix Suns, Lionel, we're going to start with you. Is their big 3 experiment of Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, and Devin Booker, who currently sit at 11th place in the Western Conference, a failure?
I am buying into the fact that experiment is over. Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, 2 ball-dominant players. Bradley Beal, an overpaid, washed-up guy. It was never going to work out for them.
Zion, your thoughts?
I'm buying it too. It's just not working, and I don't think it will work like I said over there. I think this summer we could see them blow it completely up, even with Devin Booker, who's been there for over a decade now.
Tons of uncertainty in Phoenix. Are we going for the clean sweep? Are we buying, Sam?
It's a sweep.
All right.
It's a sweep. It's done. It's over.
All right, we'll make that one quick. Let's move on to the hottest topic in probably the entire sports spectrum of the last 2 weeks. The biggest trade in the NBA in forever. Luka Doncic is now a Laker. Anthony Davis in that package is now a Maverick. This says, is it the worst deal in NBA history? is it the most lopsided or maybe illogical deal in NBA history? Sam, I'm going to go to you first.
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
And I know that there's one that I just have on the tip of my tongue that I'm not going to be able to get out right now. But, I mean, it's still all NBA for all NBA. It's not like you're getting back one first-round pick only. You only got one first-round pick, but it's not like that's the only thing you get. You still get an all-NBA player, so I'll say no. I'll sell.
Okay, Sam selling. Zion, what are you doing?
I'm selling too. Look, they got back Anthony Davis. This guy is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Well, I've made the trade? Absolutely not. But it's not like they got back a complete scrub. So I'm going to sell. That's not the worst deal ever.
Lionel, buying or selling?
I'm selling as well because, to me, the worst trade in the history of the NBA will always be the Boston Celtics sending Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce to the Brooklyn Nets for the Nets' entire future, which has given the Celtics Tatum, Brown, and who knows what else.
Yeah, I mean, only time's going to tell how this trade works out. If the Mavericks win the or the NBA championship, we're going to be looking at each other like, oh my gosh, what a trade that was. Finally, speaking of the NBA champion, we're going to close out the topic with this question. Lionel, we're going to start with you. The NBA champion will either be the Cavs, the Thunder, or the Celtics. Those are the three odds-on favorite and proven best teams in the league right now.
I'm buying it. Give me this, the Cavs to beat the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, but then give me the Thunder to beat the Cavs in 6 in one of the most grueling, low-scoring NBA Finals matchups of all time.
Wow, low scoring. It's kind of a hot take because there's some serious offensive firepower and tons of athleticism. They're two of the youngest teams in the NBA, too, which is crazy. Zion, are you buying or selling the NBA champ?
I'm buying it too. I'm going to say it will be Thunder versus Celtics in the finals. I think the Celtics make it back there. They can still beat the Cavs even though they haven't played their best ball this season. And then I believe that OKC will win their first championship since relocating to Oklahoma City.
I'm not a ball knower like you guys, but I'm kind of with you. You can't really fade the Celtics. Joe Mazzola, a heck of a coach.
Yeah.
We know Tatum's been there. They won it last year. Now you finally buying or selling the NBA champ?
No sweep.
Oh,
no
wow.
sweep. So the Cavs have the best defense in the NBA. The Thunder the Cavs have the best offense in the NBA. The Thunder have the best defense in the NBA. The Celtics arguably have the best team in the NBA. But the Denver Nuggets have the best player in the world. They have the best playoff riser that we have seen, maybe of our generation, in Jamal Murray. Michael Porter Jr. is having a fantastic year. They may have lost Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. But, man, if this team is not poised to make that push, I don't know what kind of team would be.
So he has the Denver Nuggets, but the IUSTV panel, there you have it. They're buying that the favorites at the midway point will win it all. The second half of the season is flooded with storylines, and we can't wait to see even more drama down the stretch as the NBA always seems to deliver when it matters most. That's it for the toss-up this week. Thank you so much for tuning in, and follow all of our socials through IUSTV Sports. NBA basketball is back tonight. Have a good one, everybody.
Thanks for watching IUSTV Sports. Be sure to subscribe at IUSTV and follow us on Instagram and X at IUSTV Sports.